We'll go ahead and get started. Oh, perfect. All right. So welcome everyone to our community conversation for August. Go ahead and get started. Some Zoom features, we do have the chat option available. If you have any questions or comments that throughout the meeting that you would like to ask, feel free to put that into the chat. We also, I will put on live transcript. There we go. Live transcript is on and available if you need it. There's a CC down on your toolbar that will allow you to view the live transcript. You can also raise your hand to ask any questions or if you have any comments by using the raise hand feature. Again, in your menu bar down at the bottom, just click reactions and raise hand. Like I said, we are recording for future purposes. If you ever miss a meeting, you are more than welcome to go back and view a recording, or if you just want to revisit a topic or a conversation, you're of course more than welcome to go back and watch the recordings of the meetings. And like I said, live transcript is available if you need it. And then I'll go ahead and pass it over to Miguel.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Patient Family Partnership Hub community conversation. Thank you so much for taking some time from your day and joining us. Please know that we appreciate and value your time tremendously, and that you are helping shape healthcare services for all of LA County, for all of our LA County community. I'm not sure, is anyone from Green Translations here today?
I don't have them on.
Okay, all right, then we won't introduce them. So yeah, we'll keep moving. You know, today we'll be having a conversation around the topic of patient family advisor recruitment, and specifically reviewing some of our marketing materials to discuss how we can make them better. A big lift in our work is to sustain patient family advisor recruitment throughout the year. Several of our patient family advisory councils are restarting and looking for effective ways to recruit. So we're definitely looking forward in sharing what we learned here today with our patient family engagement champions. You know, I didn't get to my name. So my name is Miguel Renteria. I go by Mike, and I'm an improvement advisor for DHS. My work evolves on patient experience and supporting our culture of patient family engagement throughout our health system. The slide you see here is of our mission, vision, values, and goals. And our mission in DHS is to advance the health of our patients and our communities by providing extraordinary care. Our goals range from transforming our system to provide cost-effective care of the whole patient across the continuum, optimize clinical quality and patient experience, to have a high-performing workforce, and ensure financial viability and support of our vision. Today, we're moving towards our mission by advancing on our strategic goal of providing high-quality care and patient experience through engaging your voice to help us in our work. Your voice, your views, your insights are incredibly important to our work, so thank you again for taking time off your day and joining us here this afternoon. I'll pass it on over back to Laura and PFCC team.
Thank you, Mike. PFCC Partners, our organization, these are our mission, vision, and values. So our mission is to center the inclusive human experience of health, reinvent through radical collaboration, and be a catalyst for system transformation. Our vision is a health system transformed, one that works with people and through communities as a partner in their well-being. And our values at PFCC Partners are equity, inclusion, and diversity, collaboration, and solution focused. All right, here's our agenda for today. So we're doing our welcome. Next, we'll go around and do some introductions. And then we'll talk about, like Mike said, patient family advisory councils at DHS and their recruitment materials. We've got some hub communications updates and we'll wrap it up. So first we will do some introductions. So just let us know your name, where you're calling in from, and what is your favorite treat from the ice cream truck. I'll go first. My name is Laura Jackson. I'm the Director of Communities at PFCC Partners. I'm calling in from Eugene, Oregon. Moved up here from Southern California about 2 years ago. My favorite treat from the ice cream truck was Choco Tacos. They no longer make them, but those are my favorite. Let's go with Shantae.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here. I was just snacking on some popcorn.
Nice.
My name is Shantae Hawkins, and I come from Southern California, the Inland Empire. My favorite ice cream truck snack would be either, I forget, the big sticks, so the ones that have like the different color type ice cream, or a drumstick, the ones with the caramel on the inside. So,
Yeah.
Did I miss any questions, Laura?
Nope, that was it.
That's
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll go with Joy.
Hello, my name is Joy. I'm from Long Beach. Okay, my favorite treat from the ice cream truck. Wow, I haven't had something from the ice cream truck in a long time. I think the last one was maybe a Good Humor ice cream truck. So my favorite would be the orange creamsicle.
Ooh,
The orange on the outside and the vanilla on the inside. Yeah.
yes, classic. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Armin?
Hi everyone, Armin Tarbarsigian here. I'm joining you all also from Southern California, in Los Angeles. Favorite treat is, I guess for nostalgic reasons, it was always the ice cream truck that had those Looney Tune characters on them. So I think really any of those would probably suffice. I think about them now and I don't know how much I would enjoy them, but I recall you know, they had like Tweety or Sylvester the cat, or you know, Bugs Bunny. Those were always just super fun, and I hope I'm pretty sure they still make those, but I have no idea what the relevant cartoons are at this point. But those were the ones that I enjoyed as a kid.
Thank you. Yeah, the ones with the little gumball eyes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Mike, I know you already introduced yourself, but what about your favorite treat?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Renteria. I'm here in the San Fernando Valley, here in Southern California. So my favorite treat, I think, would probably be, if I remember right, a strawberry shortcake. I think that's what they were called. They were, yeah, they kind of look like cake on the outside, but very cold on the inside. So yeah.
Those are really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Lindsay?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm wanting a sweet treat now that we're talking about all these. I'm Lindsay Galle. I'm the Director of Education for PFCC Partners. I'm actually located up in Sacramento, California, but our office is based in Long Beach in your backyard, Joy. And my favorite treat from the ice cream truck was the snowstorms that you got the little wooden stick to eat the cookies and cream with, and it mostly tasted like that wooden stick, but yeah, that was my favorite.
Thank you. Thank you. And it looks like we did have Martin join us. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Hey everyone, hi. Sorry I'm late. I never found the Zoom link until the agency had to send it back to me. So that's the reason. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Martin is our interpreter. He does the simultaneous interpretation for Spanish. Do we have anybody on that needs Spanish interpretation currently? Don't believe we do, but Nope. All right. If someone pops on, Martin, we can
You
turn
give me
that
the
on.
signal?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. I'll be in the background.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Did I miss anybody for introductions? Martin, what's your favorite treat from the ice cream truck?
The ice cream truck, so I grew up in Argentina.
Oh,
We didn't
okay.
really have an ice cream truck, but we had a whole bunch of other things. As you guys were talking about it, was trying to remember what did I love? We in the States have peanut butter. Well, in Argentina, there's dulce de leche. It's like caramel, but I would just grab a kilo of those and just stick the spoon in there as a kid and got spanked for it. But it was amazing. Yeah, I guess that's my favorite treat.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. All righty, let's go ahead and move on. So today we are discussing those patient family advisory councils and their recruitment. A lot of them, like Mike said, are recruiting currently. So the patient family advisory councils, there are around 11 PFACs or PFACs is what we also call them in DHS. They are groups of patient and family caregivers that share their lived experiences in order to partner with their healthcare organizations. So a lot of the facilities do have these PFACs, and they are involved with a lot of projects around their facilities. And like we've said, a lot of them are currently recruiting. And so today we are going to review those recruitment materials. And I'm going to stop sharing because I'm going to bring up some of those materials, but I believe I'm passing it over to Lindsay for that discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. And just a little bit more background. I think Shantae and maybe Joy, that we've talked about this in the past, but over the past couple of years, the teams who have been working to build up the patient family advisory councils throughout all of the more local facilities have definitely struggled with recruiting, so bringing on new patient family advisors, and then retaining, so keeping them on board. So sometimes a patient family advisor will show up for a meeting and then drop off for one reason or another, which, especially all of us as patient family advisors ourselves, we all have our own lives, we're volunteering our own time. So we just wanted to bring some of the recruitment materials because a lot of these teams, have a new restarted motivation to rebuild their patient family advisory councils right now. So there are a handful of the advisory councils across the system, including Martin Luther King Outpatient Center, to really rebuild their advisory councils. So I wanted to bring some of the recruitment materials, see your thoughts, what stands out to you, what other information would you want to know before committing to an advisory council, all in an effort to help improve the messaging for the local facilities, so they can really boost their participation on their advisory councils. Mike, anything else to add for background?
No, Lindsay, I think we are now beginning to kind of gain footing of this new, better normal. A lot of when a lot of our patient family advisory council conversations shifted in the last couple of years to a virtual environment, similar to what we have here. The only exception, it was on Microsoft Teams, as that's the platform that we use here internally within DHS. And that in itself has brought on some challenges. Some teams continued and thrived in meeting in this new virtual environment, and others just stopped completely, and understandably so, I feel. And I think those that stopped are really kind of looking now to restart those efforts and really kind of begin to, again, reimagine this better normal, to see if what platform works for the local teams best, whether it is a hybrid whether it be in person or a hybrid of virtual and in person. So, and I think ultimately today we're really looking to gain some insight to see what we could do better to kind of help our local teams. As Laura mentioned, there are 11, 12 patient family advisory councils. I always lose track of one or two, but I think there's 11, 12 patient family advisory councils across our health system, one at each of our hospitals, for which we have 4 hospitals, and then 8 within our ambulatory care network, which makes up our health centers and our comprehensive health centers across the county of Los Angeles. So, looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, thank you for that additional background, Mike. So I think we want to have a few different conversations, but first wanted to just look at a basic flyer that one of the facilities are using. So this is what they use on the billboard. So if you walk into this facility and they might have a TV screen or a computer screen, and this is something that would show on that screen along with other things that they kind of rotate through. So curious if seeing this, anything pops out to you where you would be like, I wouldn't want to participate in that, or what other information would you need to, be interested in participating in a council? Just looking for open feedback on this billboard to start with. Yeah, Joy.
My screen is a little cut off. It stops at it's supposed to be family.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know if there's any more to it, but what I do see, I think maybe it should say something about how much commitment, like if it's one once a week or once a month, or just kind of give people a little bit of an idea of what it is. And then if they want to know more, they can contact Dee Dee Bynum. Yeah. That's
interesting that you said that, because that's something that I've noticed that isn't included on a lot of the recruitment materials. But and I also feel like when people understand that commitment up front, then you'll have less drop off later on because they know what they're signing up for, So I think that's a really good point.
And it also, I don't know if people would know the difference between like what we're doing, the patient family partnership hub conversation, and then PFAC, they're different.
Right.
So I don't know, like if someone's looking at that, they might say, well, I'm already part of a group. They don't know that's a different group.
Yeah. That's a great point. So maybe just defining what a PFAC is. And that gives me a good idea. We could also help, the advisor or the local advisory councils by sharing, if you want to partner locally, this is what you can do. If you want to help our facility, and get really specific with that. But then, if maybe you don't have the time to commit and you still want to kind of stay in the loop and understand what's going on across DHS, then that's the Patient Family Partnership Hub. So maybe there's an opportunity to co-promote everything that's going on with patient family engagement at DHS. I'm hearing define the advisory council and maybe the difference between the council and the hub. Anything else, Joy?
No, I think those are just the two main things, just the commitment, just a little bit of that.
Yeah, definitely. Shantae, see your hand up.
It's so funny, or maybe I missed it. And so I am actually on the City of Hope PFAC on the recruitment committee.
Oh, okay.
So this is such a now conversation. It's so hilarious. So yeah, I feel like looking at this flyer, off the top, I would probably more than likely disqualify myself for a multitude of reasons. The Patient Family Advisory Council doesn't quite mean that I would qualify as a family advisor, especially if I'm a caregiver that's not family related. Number one.
That's a good point.
And number two, there's no real message saying that it's kind of like for us, by us type of situation, because so many times advisory councils have people who are so disconnected from the cause, actually weighing in on the cause. So if it is for me, by me, like people like me who are actually the parent of a patient,
Right.
it would make me feel better that, okay, wait, this does include me. They do want to solicit my opinion or my view, however. That message is just not conveyed here at all. And then the image of people sitting around talking doesn't really show me. If I couldn't really understand through the words, we have images of patients with their caregivers, with their family members, know that this is actually for the patient. Like the patient can show up and say something, you know, the patient can actually be a part of the council. So just some images that show caregivers with the patients or something like that, that just really conveys that it is, in fact, what we want are the patients and their actual family members or caregivers.
Right. Yeah, because the current image kind of looks more of like a professional meeting setting, which is very different from an advisory council as well. So that's really helpful. And I completely agree. So this is one, so typically what we do, because I work closely with the facilities and would provide feedback similar to what you're providing here. I haven't touched this one because I wanted to hear like the raw feedback before we, you know, fluffed it up a little bit. So you're definitely speaking my language for sure. Was there anything else, Shante? Yeah.
Apply now.
Yeah, I wanted to know about that. I wanted to ask both you and Joy.
I didn't think that was
about that.
I am very like, when I see apply now, it's like the first thing that my mind goes to, and it could be very negative, is just how I would not qualify. Not like, oh, I'm gonna get what I'm applying for. Learn more, or learn how, or get involved now, or something else to that effect.
Yeah.
Even though there is a qualification process, I just don't think when we want to invite people to really understand what we're doing here, apply now is the call of action that we want them to take.
Yeah. And it can deter people. And so that's another thing that we've kind of changed a lot since starting advisory councils with DHS. In the past, patient family advisors would go through the full like volunteer orientation, background checks, like healthcare screen, like they were treated as a volunteer who would be patient facing and doing all, you know, would have to go through a lot more. So since then, you know, we've kind of pared down what an advisor needs to go through to participate on a council, and we simply have a formalized form that everybody signs that solidifies the partnership between the facility and the patient family advisor, instead of going through all of that. And I feel like, you know, when we say apply, you're implying that there's a lot more that goes into participation, but that can also limit the voices who we are able to bring onto the council. So yeah, I was really curious about using apply now and what other verbiage we could use to say, just join us, you know?
So yeah, join now.
Join us, yeah.
Learn more, learn how, come check us out or something, because I also know that part of the process is at our PFAC, and I don't know, you know, I know you guys create them, but I don't know if this is a process that every PFAC goes through, but I got to sit in on a meeting before, you know, I made my decision, because sometimes even in the employment space, when we apply, we think that we're being interviewed, not that the employer is being interviewed. So
Right.
that's wrong. It's the wrong mindset, right?
Right, exactly.
It's an actual where the patient advisory potential council member is also interviewing to see if this is the right space for them.
Exactly.
Just eliminate that whole interview and applying and all that type of stuff, that kind of language, because first of all, the fact that my child was sick and even had to go through this process already overqualifies me to be.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a matter of, is this a good fit? Let's see if
Right.
you would like to be here and if we can work together to then again achieve the visions and missions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so I understand that, you know, it'll come down to a place where, you know, the council will agree or, you know, agree to take on or not this new advisory council member, but the advisory council member too can say at that time whether they feel like it's a good fit or not.
Right.
I just feel like I just would like to see all of that type of language to be removed, because they are barriers and it does make people think like, you know, how am I qualified or capable of this or something? And surely you are, you really are.
If you have a lived healthcare experience, that's all you need.
Are qualified to be.
Yeah.
However, like Joy was saying, all the other requirements or commitments that then to have to take into account whether the council member would like to continue, you know, to be a part of it, et cetera, et cetera. So
it's a mutual decision.
Yes,
Too, for sure.
Yeah. So I just feel like, yeah, that whole application interview language, even though it might be part of the process, it still doesn't have to be conveyed in that way.
Yeah, and it's definitely in the language too, because you can say interview and you can, this is what we used to do, is describe an interview for a patient family advisory council, but in how we would describe it, you know, and in that interview, you would need to give, as a facilitator, give information to the potential advisor. And it's also an opportunity for you to get information from the advisor, but it goes both ways. So we have like completely changed it, because when people think interview, it's like very serious, sit down at your desk in a conference room, but it's like, no, you can meet at a coffee shop and have a conversation.
And there's this judging of what you bring to the table and, you know, all of that.
But it's all within that word interview too. So the language we use is really important. Absolutely. Great. Well, this is really helpful, helpful insight. Laura, is there another document? I think we had 3 that were all kind of similar, but different.
Yes. I have this one. And I apologize, I'll have to scroll.
Yeah, maybe, just leave it there for one moment so we can read through it. So this is more of like a tabletop ad or a flyer that they would hand out like in a waiting room or something like that. Can you go down a little bit, Laura? So I'm already seeing a few things based on what you've already shared, but would love to hear more. So Shantae, go ahead.
I'm struggling to lower my hand.
It's okay, you can leave it up.
So the term advisor might be a little too much for the layperson. They might not feel like they can advise. What am I going to advise on?
Right.
If you could scroll back up to the top for me just a little bit, Lindsay. So it says we are now accepting application for patient advisors. So who is a patient advisor?
And we're missing the family there.
Yeah, I like to join stuff because I just like to share my opinion on things. And so,
Right. So we're looking for people to share their opinion on things. Yeah.
so my person was like, who's an advisor? Do I qualify? Is that me? Like, I'm not a patient. Can I?
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. So instead of even using patient family advisor, like we can say patient family advisory council, but they can just say like, we're looking for people who,
Patients and families and
Yep.
caregivers to join a
community
council.
members, yeah, who are interested in sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, their lived experience to help advance the healthcare industry. Oh,
Mhm.
then I bet we would get a whole lot of people like, me, I have something to say about that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Like you wouldn't see yourself in a patient advisor, but in that description, you're like, yes, I'm there.
I'm there. That's me.
Yeah. And I think that's okay, because with the orientation and the more information that you get about the role, about the advisory council, all of that stuff comes later.
Mhm.
So, and this is exactly what we're looking for, is what's the messaging to help people, individuals, just the layperson walking through a facility say, oh, that's definitely me. That's something I want to do.
Exactly. I like the term orientation
Mhm.
better than I do interview and any other kind of process related type word.
Mhm.
It's just not. And then when you think about the mindset that we are in as a patient family person going through this process of getting healthcare or overseeing the healthcare process for my person, if I am the patient, I don't want to take on something that sounds anything remotely like a job.
Right. Yeah. Especially when it's a volunteer position as well. Yeah.
Yes. Especially thinking about what are my priorities as a patient who is currently seeking care, like I'm in treatment.
Mhm.
I want to be able to speak about my experience, but I don't want it to sound laborious or be laborious,
Right.
If all
Mhm.
you're, soliciting from me at least once a month, maybe twice a month meetings is just my feedback on my personal experience.
Right.
Do that, but I don't want it, to be laborious or labor intensive when we use
Mhm.
terms like advisors. And of course, it's a council because there's more of us, but just
Mhm.
some of the terminology could be off-putting because it seems like there's way too much more work
Yeah.
involved for some.
Especially at the beginning of someone's journey of getting it more involved in volunteering, and that makes perfect sense. Yeah. And if I keep looking down, I'm just taking notes over here.
Yeah, I mean, even I think it's good to know what we do here. So advised too might be a little bit tough for people to take on, but I
Yeah.
like the fact that we're talking about operational issues, performance improvements. Or,
Mhm.
I think that's great because people will hit that like, oh yeah, there's some things I would like to talk about. But I feel
Right.
like we need to bring the overall tone of the message down to more simpler terminology.
Absolutely.
Because
And maybe remove advise, or, change the language there a little bit.
Mhm.
That could be intimidating too as a patient. I'm like, I know nothing about the operational issues you have or your performance improvement. What's that? How am I going to advise you?
Right. How am I supposed to do that? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that.
Great point. Awesome. Joy, did you have anything to add on this flyer?
Not really. I mean, Shantae pretty much said what I was going to say. The first thing that got me, besides some of the other things, well, first of all, this is a little better than the first one. It's a little
Yeah, more
better.
information.
But
Yeah.
again, just like what she said, it's the wording, because you're dealing with people that have a lot on their plate. They're working, they're probably taking care of their parents, and then they have kids too. So, and when you advertise something, shorter is better, but it has to be descriptive. It has to hit the point. It has to be on point, because people are not going to take the time to really read and absorb. What they do is when they see something, they see one thing and they form an opinion about it. Like for me, operational issues. You know what I think about? Budget, number crunching, Oh my
Yeah.
God, I don't want to do that.
Nope. Exactly.
Don't you have someone that does that? So
Right.
you have to do it in a way where, just like if you're advertising for something you're trying to sell,
Mhm.
make it very clear, concise, easy to read. Not that I'm saying people aren't intelligent, it's just that people want to do things quickly.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
found if you send an email that's too long, they're going to get the wrong message.
Not
They're
gonna
not going to
get
get the
read,
total
yeah.
message. And then you get this whole back and forth thing because they didn't read the whole email. So
Right.
same thing here.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And I think too, going back to something Shantae, you said for patients by patients, or by patients and for patients. And I feel like that's in this one as well, another thing that's missing too, because when you think about operational issues and your mind goes to budget, is that something that I'm worried about? Should I be worried about your budget? So it's about kind of pairing the issues of the health center or the hospital with what the patients and families are passionate about. So I think if we can clearly and concisely describe that, we might be able to get to a point where people can see their passion and say, oh yes, that's absolutely something I want to be involved in. It's just all about language.
Yeah, it sounds like that whole informatics type, performance improvement initiatives. You have people that all they do is take data,
Right.
compile it, interpret it, and then tell you what to do. That's what that sounds like. And when you put stuff like that in there, it scares people because they're like, oh man,
I don't want to get involved in that.
Do I have to have a degree to qualify?
Right. Do I have to know how to use Excel? Because I'm struggling. That is funny. No, but absolutely. And looking at this again, seeing some of those words, it's like, if I was just a patient coming in, I would not know how I could even have impact or advise on these things. So really paring it down to this is the impact you can have in an easy to understand way. Great. Well, this has been really helpful. Laura, was there one more? It might be similar to what we've already
Lindsay,
yeah.
can we get Armin's maybe insight or see if he has any opinions to share?
Yeah, Armin, you're welcome to jump in. I know. So
Yeah.
Mike, we have met with Armin previously, and he was listening in to see if the partnership hub is something he would like to share with the community at Armin, can you remind me the name? I don't want to mess it up.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood that question. Can you repeat that one more time?
Oh, so Mike was inviting you to participate in the conversation, and I was explaining to him that we had met before to talk about sharing the partnership hub with your community.
Right. Yes.
And that you were listening in, so.
Yeah. So I'm with LA County Department of Public Health. We have our own wellness community as well, and I specifically service the Metro Los Angeles area.
Got it.
So that's where I'm coming from. The things that I've been hearing already being said seem to address important points. I kind of was sitting back trying to get a sense of sort of, how this is, how the Patient and Family Advisory Council is being promoted. So I'm happy to give some feedback based off of what I'm, seeing so far. I do still have some questions that I was trying to understand. Like, I think that the first part that we were commenting on, it sounded like that was a billboard, is what I heard. So that's going to be something that's like pasted and someone can just sort of see. But it looks like there's areas, but there's other types of promotion. So this is like a flyer, and then it looked like there was an application, right? I'm not commenting so much on the language so far. My initial impression was, okay, it does seem like there does need to be more information you know, in terms of where is the council meeting? Of course, what time is the council meeting? Stuff that have already been brought up before. And then sometimes, you know, I've at least seen it, like, what are the incentives of joining, you know, for the council? You know, or even sort of like either an eligibility requirement or what's an ideal qualification for, you know, council members someone is seeking. You know, those are like just little feedbacks I can provide. But yeah, it resonates a lot with what has sort of been said earlier.
Yep. No, thank you, Armin, and thank you, Lindsay, for that context. No, Shante and Joy, you guys have given us a wealth of information. I have a page full of notes here that we're going to take back to kind of, you know, redesign and reapproach. Lindsay and I will probably be meeting tomorrow and kind of seeing how we could continue to relay this information over. But I think you're right. I think the last thing we want to kind of send a message is that this is laborious. You know, we want to meet our patients where they are at. And you know, with whatever time they want to give to us, we will more than gladly listen and really take that insight and share it throughout. So thank you.
Do you anticipate translating this information as well in case you're seeking, you know, clients who are Spanish speaking, if that's the client base?
Yeah. And we do. So for advisory councils that that would like to translate their materials, especially their recruitment materials, we encourage them to then set up the expectation that everything else will be translated. They'll ensure that interpreters are at their meetings and, you know, all of the follow-up and invitations, like everything will be translated. So not all of the facilities have that resource available yet. But there are multiple who are really living up to, you know, hosting those bilingual meetings. LAC USC, the hospital, they recently shared with the staff who are working on developing the advisory councils more information about their bilingual meetings. They had their first one in person in 2 years, which actually kind of rolls into our other conversation that I was kind of curious about. But before we get there, Joy, I see your hand up.
Oh, yeah, I think my question was kind of answered by Armin. I was going to go towards the translation as well, because I know I don't speak Spanish. I'm not a Spanish speaker, but I know that when you're translating, things can get lost in translation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we need to continue this and apply it when it's being translated as well. So you can still keep the clear message, even though it's in a different language, and that it also meets the target that you wanted to meet.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we are really grateful at DHS. They have the language access, or I'm not remembering what the team is called, but they work to make sure that any materials that are on its way to be translated are first, you know, written in plain language at a reading level that many people can understand. So grateful for that resource. Yeah, but absolutely, Joy. And Shante?
PFAX has like a sister, I'm gonna say hub, called El Concilio.
Yeah.
El Concilio helps with the Spanish translation of a lot of its documents, internal processes, and all of that type of good stuff too. And they really do like collaborate a lot of the times alongside the PFAC to make that a possibility.
So they do have that opportunity to come together. I know there's a lot of healthcare organizations across the country that do that. They have their advisory council and then El Concilio. I was just always curious if they, you know, came together across paths or worked on things with each other. That was something that, yeah, I had never seen, you know.
So sometimes,
but it's good to know.
Yeah, sometimes El Concilio has representatives that show up at the PFAC. And
okay.
When we have different departments coming to, you know, work with the PFAC, sometimes
yeah,
Concilio is there to be that representation for the Spanish.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And so Armin, this was the question that I was going to get to. If Armin asked if it's a virtual meeting or an in-person. So a lot of the advisory councils over the past couple of years have tried to host virtual meetings using Microsoft Teams. And, you know, there's been some ups and downs. Some of the teams have really thrived. Some of the advisory councils have thrived and have continued to meet, and the patient family advisors are able to participate in the meetings, but that's where they saw a lot of the drop off for one reason or another. But trying to meet virtually, they found that they weren't able to build relationships as good as they did when they were meeting in person. The advisors, they really wanted to be back in person. So I was kind of curious, you know, Shantae, Joy, Armin, thoughts about transitioning to in-person meetings for these local advisory councils. Shantae, I don't know if at City of Hope you're meeting in person or virtually, but I think everybody's really looking forward to getting back to in-person. And so we're trying to help the advisory councils at DHS make the best decision for their communities. So just curious what's going on out there or your thoughts and feelings about in-person meetings.
The City of Hope is not currently meeting in person. We just talked about that in our past board meeting. That might be an opportunity early 2023.
Okay.
Personally speaking, I feel like I'm very partial to the remote environment because it lowers barriers to entry and participation.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, again, speaking personally, I'm able to contribute when I'm, you know, in a virtual space because I don't have to worry about getting somewhere. You know, so I could just get to my computer or my phone real quick and be able to still participate. However, I do understand the need to be in a shared space together.
Right.
There are certain things that we're missing. My opinion is we need to do it when it's safe, because I have been one of those many Americans that have been impacted mentally and emotionally behind COVID. And I have my pediatric leukemia patient who was just in remission, not quite, you know, in survivorship. I get very concerned with going to the park or me going to the store. So I feel like the virtual space gives me an opportunity to continue to work, continue to participate in certain arenas, and still be able to advance the world around me, because I'm not having to be concerned about other things that might impede my safety or my health. So that's just my opinion. I would love to get back to a world where COVID is not an issue and it's not threatening to see people in person. You know, and shaking hands and, you know, hugging and all of that again. I am totally open to that, but where and when it's safe, you know. So
absolutely respect that. Yeah, I agree. Others?
So at our wellness community, I'm trying to push for, we've been virtual for the last, you know, few years, you know, with the pandemic. I'm now trying to experiment with in-person workshops. It is, of course, going to be slow. I do have at least one workshop that's experimenting with a hybrid, in-person and virtual. And at least for the virtual, it's more consistent for people to attend for that workshop. For in-person, it's, you know, people have showed up and then there's times where no one has showed up.
Yeah.
So all I know is that if, you know, it can be slow, of course, depending on how you're outreaching to the clients. You know, our wellness community is also at our health center. So we try to outreach to those clients as well. But, you know, I can understand its challenges, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing the hybrid approach too, because, you know, for people who aren't ready to go to the in-person environment, it's always a good option.
yeah, it can have some logistical challenges.
I bet, yeah.
You know, so, you know, how the presenter is able to, you know, present to the virtual audience and the in-person audience, and then of course handle chats or, you know, chats while also getting questions in person, just those little things, but it's doable.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what we've at least we're trying out right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, something interesting to think about too. Yeah, how do you engage the people who are on virtually and those who are in the room in front of you? And yeah, but it might be something to look more into, because I think there's always going to be those who are either hesitant about going to in person, or who, like you, Shantae, the same thing. I love the flexibility of being virtual, because I have my son who's in school, and so it just makes things easier. And I know that it does for a lot of other, especially parents, but other patients and family caregivers as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I would love to further explore what that hybrid looks like. I just feel like that's just the way of the world at the moment. I
Yeah.
hear what Armin is saying about technology. Good grief.
Got it.
I can see how that could be an impediment. I do. But I would love to sit on some kind of project where we can figure out what hybrid looks like, because you know, I just feel like, and I digress, I just feel like the workforce can get back to what we need it to be if we can continue and maintain this kind of flexibility. Because I would hate to have to think that, you know, I mean, even thinking about if we were sick or not feeling well, so that means I can't work.
Yeah.
I could work at certain times of the day when I'm feeling a little bit better, but that meant I was doing it at home. Could I still be productive? Could I still make a difference? You know, so I just feel like I would love to just learn how we could do something like that.
Yeah, I would too. Let's keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we have about 5 minutes left, so I think we'll start to wrap up. Laura, I know you had another topic to end with.
Let me bring up the slide deck here.
But thank you all. This was, I know Mike took a ton of notes and I did too. So we'll be reconvening tomorrow and pulling all of this together, all in an effort to help the local advisory councils, and kind of let you know what gets updated from there and how this has helped grow those local advisory councils, which we're really excited about. And we know that the staff who are at the local facilities, the health centers and the hospitals, are motivated and excited to restart their advisory councils, because they know what a resource it can be. So thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Is this the end of the meeting?
I think I'm passing it off to Laura. We just have, I think, one more update and then we'll let you go.
Yeah. Oh, there's the discussion. So we have the website for this Patient Family Partnership Hub is now currently on the DHS website. So I should say the page is on the DHS website, and I put the link there in the chat. It was on ours, and so we've swapped over there. So it's a new page. If you go down towards the bottom of it, I guess I can show you. I have it up here. If you go down towards the bottom of the page, whoa, it says, oh my gosh, there we go. It says Patient Family Partnership Hub Forum. And my computer is very slow right now. It takes you to the forum for the LA County Department of Health Services Patient Family Partnership Hub. And so this is where we put questions that we have for you all. Follow up for these meetings. We'll put for example, this was last month's, we put the discussion in there along with the recording here. So this month, we'll probably put up those recruitment materials we went through along with this recording. So if you have anything, if you think of anything else, I always think of something I was going to say after a meeting. So if you have that thought, feel free to head over to the forums to put your thoughts into the discussions. We will, in the upcoming future, have a new forum specifically for the LA County DHS hub. This is currently on our PFA network website. So coming soon, we will have our own space for the hub. And we're really excited about that. So feel free to head on over, and I'll add the link to this too in the chat. And of course, we'll let you all know when that all comes. But for now, this is where our discussions live. Oh my gosh, I have so many ones open. Maybe this one? Yeah, okay. So that is the update for the webpage. And now we're at the end of the meeting. Our next meeting will be September 26th. Same time, same place. And if you have any questions, we'll stay on for just a few more moments. If not, we will see you all next month, or we'll see you in the forums. Thank you.
Thank you, Shante.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Joy. Thank you, Armin. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Good day, everyone.
Good
Have a
day.
good one, Joy.
Thank you, Martin.
Question for you, Lindsay.
You're